No, the EV market is increasing. There's growth. They come from a low level, so low base. And it's also not enough looking at where we need to be to meet very ambitious EU CO2 reduction targets. So yes, there's progress. We're doing well with this transition, but not well enough, and much more needs to be done.
Sigrid, sorry. I was really excited, actually, that Europe is adopting more EVs, and Germany was leading the fray as well in many ways. So this is a good news story. We can look at the individuals in a moment in a bit more detail, but by and large, EV adoption is still happening, yes?
Absolutely, it is happening. We're at that point, that very tender point from going from early adopters and early movers to early majorities and perhaps even mass market. And that is a very difficult spot to be in, especially with the current circumstances, geopolitical, economic, that are very tense. But it is happening. It just needs an extra push. And that's what we need, where we need policymakers to help, because if we don't get our act together as Europe with the charging infrastructure, with electricity prices, with convenience of charging and also payment systems and all of that, this transition will be too slow to meet the objectives that we together have set each other as society to meet our decarbonization targets. So on the one hand, yes, it's a good news story, but on the other hand, it isn't at all, and much more needs to be done.
But Sigrid, this is where it gets really, really tricky, because the people who are knocking the ball out of the park is a little old British sports car manufacturer called MG. The problem is they're not owned by a little British sports car manufacturer. They're owned by the Chinese, and it's SAIC whose numbers were absolutely surging. We need more Chinese EVs in Europe, not less, with higher barriers in order to get faster adoption, don't we, Sigrid? Because this will then lower the price point for European consumers.
Yeah, we need higher numbers across the board, across segments, across markets to get where we need to be in the UK, but also in the EU. So yes, we need a large offering, a broader portfolio, and you see that's coming. I mean, all manufacturers, also ACEA members, are bringing a lot of new models to market across price ranges, across models, and some of them are really doing very, very well. So there is lots of news to be positive about. But again, this is a systemic transformation. It's not just about manufacturers putting models on the market or a technology change. It's really, it needs to be going hand in hand with all these other factors: charging infrastructure, electricity, also change of habits, getting used to how to make use of this technology that sometimes takes a bit of learning.
Sigrid, speaking of some of the Chinese players, what is it going to take for BYD to storm into these numbers? Because we know there's a plant coming in Hungary. There's going to be more capacity in Europe. Some of us have seen BYDs out in the wild across on European roads. When is it going to storm into the numbers, do you think?
Oh, that depends on so many things. I mean, I can't really tell, but it will be coming. I mean, you'll see a lot of competition. Competition is already very, very tough. And we've seen that before with other manufacturers and newcomers entering the market back in the day as well, with Japanese and Korean manufacturers. So it's a very competitive marketplace to be in. And we'll certainly see further successes also by Chinese manufacturers. But again, this is a fierce fight, and everybody is playing ball in that fight, and they will battle for market share.